Hello, welcome to Ring Takes here. This will be episode 39. Of course, I'm joined by Brian and Lewis here. As always, thank you guys for joining me. Crown Jewel is what we're going to be talking about today. Of course, that happens on Saturday at 12. Yes, Crown. At 12 a.m. on Saturday, according to the East Coast. But first, before we get into our picks, let's go over a little other wrestling news throughout the week. AEW news. We all saw the match with MJF and Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship, or was it for the AEW World Championship, as he came out with no belt, as Jay White has stolen the title from MJF. But this match was on Collision. Awesome match. I got to see the match late. I saw it today, which was awesome. I'm like, they got plenty of time, 30 minutes on TV. Pay-per-view level stuff. What do you guys think about this match?
All right, Lewis, you can go ahead and go first because you were the one that was ecstatic about this match, initially bringing it up. So
this man was a banger and a banger and a banger. Yeah, you know the crazy thing is, and this is why I kind of need to maybe go back and start watching Collision, because honestly I forget about Collision, and I think this is the big issue that I have with Collision is this: it's on Saturdays and I literally always forget about it, and then highlights I'm seeing on TV, I'm like, what the hell is this from? I'm like, oh shit, it's Collision. But I do remember watching Dynamite. They were like, Kenny challenging MJF for the title, and I knew it was going to be a great match, but I didn't think it was going to be this great. And literally seeing MJF pull out moves that I have not seen him pull out before. He's diving over the ropes, doing his thing, the kangaroo kick and all this stuff, still, being him, but just like spectacular match. Kenny, just as great. He is, I don't know. I feel like there were some moments in the match where it's like they were kind of doing the same thing. And it's like, MJF does a kick up, Kenny does a kick up, and then Kenny might trip or whatever. You're like, oh, this man's starting to lose his step a little bit. He's been wrestling a long time, and he's not getting any younger. So,
and all those injuries, and we don't know if he's fully healed, and he's always on go in his matches. So It doesn't matter what match it is.
Kenny fights a hard style. And I mean, from past matches from him and Will Ospreay, and him back in New Japan, he fights a hard style, and he runs fast, he hits hard, and I'm not big with the record books, but I don't know how many times him and MJF have actually faced each other. But this was definitely a great showing out, and I think this is the one big story that I'm really liking with AEW right now is everybody's literally has their eyes on MJF. I was telling Dan before we started, I don't like the whole, which WWE has done before, where oh no, somebody stole the champ's belt. And then him coming out with no belt just to me makes him look weak. And I get it. You have literally
it hurts to me. It hurts the match a little. It hurts the match dynamic because it's that's the title is why the match is happening. So
you have him win and there's no title.
Then Kenny Omega on that flip side, it's why don't you help him get the title back? Because it's you want to compete for it.
but I guess that's also the thing. I guess that's the story they're pushing. He was in this great dynamic with Adam Cole. Adam Cole was his best friend. He's injured now. Now he's back, lonely man on the totem pole, but everybody has their eye on him. You got Wardlow, you got Samoa Joe, you got Jay White, you got Kenny, Yep. So it's a good story, and I feel like it's definitely putting him in a top position where it's just obviously the more great matches he has, more rivalries is obviously giving me people. This gave, not that he needed it, but gave Kenny and him just a great spot to showcase these are the top guys for a reason. And it was just a lot of close calls. At some points, I'm like, oh, it's done. And then I didn't like the whole stupid Don Callis coming out. I was like, that was kind of pointless.
He doesn't need to be involved in that.
It made sense for him to come out since he's been feuding with Omega and Jericho. So why would he want to see Kenny Omega retain the world championship? So it made sense from that standpoint. But I think the reason why you felt that way is because their feud really hasn't gone anywhere, and you're not interested in it. So when you see Don Callis, you're just like,
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it was just like he
now.
came out and did nothing and then got kicked out as soon as he came out. So it was just like it had no effect on the match. Like if he had cost him the match and it was gonna lead to something else, that would have made more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they were like, yeah, let's just let him wrestle. And I think that's what they did, and that's why it was great. And then the fact that they legit, you know, not MJF's character to actually like praise his opponent and then be like, you know, thank you, like this was a great match, and like we put on a stellar show, and that's what it was. And I guess there was a little promo after. I don't know if it was televised or like just for the crowd where he was just like,
that was off camera. Yeah.
Where he's just like, I wouldn't be here. MJF was like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Kennys, the Young Bucks, all these people who, you know, if you think about it, when he came in, he was still very young. He still is young, but like to see his progression to now, it's like it's amazing, and that's why he's the face of the company. So it was definitely I thought it was definitely a great match. I'm a huge MJF fan right now, so that's where I'm at.
But yeah, as I was telling Lewis before we got on, it's like MJF isn't. You don't think of him as a technical wizard or anything like that, but he's been getting in the ring with these guys and have been putting on classics, like putting on great matches, technical matches, doing moves we don't think that he's capable of, like the reverse Hurricane hitting Kenny Omega at one point in the match, and then Kenny came back and hit him with it, and it's like, what the hell? Like, you don't think he's going to be doing boom, boom, boom move like that. But in this match, he's really shown that. Even the powerbomb through the table, I was like, that's so early in the match. And I'm like, yo, like, they still went on for like 25 minutes after that. So it's like, what the hell like is going on? But no, that match is just like, it shows that where AEW, when they put two guys together, and that's like what you guys talked about on the pay-per-view, where it's kind of like they just throw classics out there or just throwing dream matches that people want to see every time. And it's like they're doing that on TV, and it's like you seeing that. So it's like you're always going to get that type of quality of match, even on a random AEW collision, you're going to get that. But yeah, it was just, I was impressed by MJF. We know Kenny Omega is that type of guy. We've seen him in New Japan, we've seen him in AEW, we've seen him be a workhorse. But MJF is becoming that workhorse where he's really fighting everybody, even with the tag team championships. Yeah. He's doing it from that standpoint as well. And I believe he has a double match at is it Full Gear?
Yeah, that's at Full Gear. Yeah, he does.
Defending the tag titles, and he's still defending the AEW championship. So he's doing double duty. He's getting a lot of work right now. Like, he's really putting in the reps there for him.
I'd be shocked if he actually drops the title, because I wonder
if they're wise. MJF, I said it from the beginning when he won the title that he should hold the title for the rest of the year, because realistically, I mean, as much talent as they have, who's better than MJF right now? Nobody. I mean, and when you go back to this match, when you talk about some of these spots, I don't know about you guys, but when he did that backflip over the top rope,
and
I didn't see that coming. I didn't even know MJF had that. Like, exactly, you don't know what MJF is capable of. I mean,
you know what's funny? Watching that replay of that move specifically, I honestly thought he didn't clear it, and then
I didn't think it either. It looked like
it didn't look that way, but then
like space, and then he landed it clean standing. I was like, yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, but it's like you don't think of that when you watch his matches and stuff like that. And as in terms of him losing the title, I'm like, I don't think that's good right now. I mean, Jay White, like, if you know international, you know who Jay White is.
Yeah.
And what he's done with Bullet Club and stuff like that. But it's like, to gainer the other audience, I think MJF is the hardest thing they have right now. I don't know. I wouldn't do that.
The only reason I would, and this is happening, I don't think it's going to happen, but the only reason if they did have him lose, honestly, it's just a numbers game thing right now, because he's literally alone. And obviously they're not just going to like, oh, hey, here's your new best friend, or here's a new somebody who's going to help you. I know they've been teasing the whole, the Acclaimed, but did they tease that? What weren't they like? I'll find a partner. He said he was.
Yeah, he's been looking for a partner. Yeah, he was doing that.
So maybe we'll get a new signing or something.
Tonight. Yeah. So apparently he had an 8-man tonight, and he was trying to find 3 other partners. And all throughout the show, the Acclaimed have been trying to get him to pick them. I think there were a couple of segments with Max Caster, you know, with his sense of humor, because I guess apparently Caster and MJF they go way back to the days of MLW and such. They train together and everything. So
and he said that That's what he said. He's like, I've known you for a long time, and I don't like you. He's like,
He's
like I'm never gonna.
Like, yo, pick us.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just walks away like, no.
He closed the scissors.
But as great as that match was, we have to get a little negative here. Free TV and Collision at that. And like I understand why. The whole protect this, the whole streak thing. I mean, Kenny Omega had the title for 346 days. MJF, as of Saturday, had it for 343. So obviously you want to match up the streak. But at the same time, you could have still told like a compelling story for a future pay-per-view match. And you could have had MJF beat Kenny Omega's streak, and then Omega step up and say, you ended my streak. The streak was something I was proud of. When I held the title for that amount of time, all of the matches I had, all of the 5 stars, everything I went through, and then you basically beat my streak. So now I'm coming back to beat yours. They could have told us a compelling story like that and saved this for a future pay-per-view instead of rushing it on a Saturday show Collision that was up against the World Series and up against college football. And I'm assuming they didn't do as good of a number against those 2 events. So I know what they're trying to get Collision on par with Dynamite. Collision has fallen off since Punk has been released. So Lewis, you're not really missing much with Collision. Yeah. So I understand.
But I feel like things have been happening, like the tag titles changing. I didn't even know that happened, and that was on Collision. And then I feel like, I've been wanting to see Miro and Andrade, and they're only on Collision. So it's like, I'm missing all this stuff with them. And like, his wife, CJ Perry's back, but then he doesn't want her there. And like, it's just like all these stories that I'm not even like following, but I'm seeing clips and I'm like, okay, this is all on Collision. So I don't know. Is it worth watching? I don't know what the hell's going on, but then boom, they got this match going on. And I'm like,
listen, you gotta catch Collision on like YouTube and just watch the clips. Like that's what I did. Like I'm just like, okay, I'm just trying to get caught up or whatever the case may be, because it's like we're most likely we're all doing something on Saturday. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I watch Collision on Wednesdays before Dynamite anyway, and I kind of have it like in the background while I'm working. Like if there's something like really intriguing, I'll stop working and pay attention to it. Like I paid attention to the Kenny Omega and MJF match, but the majority of stuff on Collision is just like some of the same stuff that you get on Dynamite. The only thing that's different is the commentary team. Other than that, pretty much
somebody else is telling the story from their point of view, Brian.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Nigel McGuinness.
But
who's hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, he is. He's actually really funny. Him and what's his name? Why am I spacing on his name? Dude with the glasses, because he's a main commentator.
You're talking about Eon Riccaboni from Ring of Honor, that guy. Right?
No.
Kevin Kelly.
No, what's his name? He always makes the announcements on, not the announcement, but he's usually on Dynamite. Tony Schiavone, yeah.
Schiavone, like as Jericho likes to call him.
But just again, what Brian was saying about something negative is just like there's another big company that did this in the past. WCW.
So
when they went to the Georgia Dome for Hogan Goldberg, it is, and Road Wild was like what 8 days later, like 6 days later.
But see, I don't see this match as like a rush thing. I think it's in lieu of everything else that's going on. Like I said, you got Wardlow, you got the whole Jay White, which is like the main thing. Then you got Samoa Joe lingering. So it's like you got a lot of players, and it's like you're not gonna just like one by one PLEs like have them waiting and not do anything. It's like you can have a world title match on a
but what is this
normally ever seen? But I think it's good to shake things up sometimes. It's like you don't always have to save it, especially them. They don't have as many PLEs as WWE does. So why not just like every once in a while, hey, whatever, you want a title match? All right, let's have a title match.
They're going
to deliver.
I think what Brian's saying is just like you're competing on Saturday where you get your demographic or whatever, but now you're competing against the World Series, college football, where it's like if that was Wednesday, people are watching the NBA, but it's like most likely people are going to tune in to you as well. So I think that's where it was. But
exactly.
It's tough. It's tough.
Like if they had did this on Dynamite, at least they would have got over 1 million viewers and would have
for sure,
a big number.
For sure,
But
there's more people available on Wednesdays.
Now it seems like, as great as it seems like it was a waste now.
Yeah,
because it was there.
No, yeah, for sure. If it was safe for Dynamite, it would have been a bigger spectacle because there's more people available on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So
absolutely, but it's just, I mean, it was a great match, and I understand what both of you guys are saying because Brian's like, this is a great match. It should be something that you build towards, have like a laid out boom, boom, boom.
Like people should be paying for it. I mean, Mark Henry even said it on Busted Open Sports Radio that he felt that like it was a mistake that they put it on Collision because you really imagine how many people would have paid to see that with a compelling story behind it.
Yeah,
But
it was a great match.
Yeah, it was a great match, and it's just like Luz. What I understand what Luz is saying is like you're trying to line up all these competitors for MJF. You're trying to bring back Warlord into the fold. We don't know how that's going to work out. You know, you're trying to like Jay White's that guy right now that he's battling, that he's going to battle at Full Gear. So it's like there's a lot of players there, and for him to defend the title is just like crazy to me. Like before Full Gear like that. But I understand what you guys are saying.
I mean, MJF is the most compelling character in AEW right now, and his story right now, which is pretty much MJF against the world minus Adam Cole. I mean, it's the only compelling story that they have right now. So when you talk about all this bidding war of 2024 and whether or not he's re-signed or not, I mean, they lose MJF.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I think maybe at some point before, he got this like renegotiating thing with Tony, that was a good thing to like attract eyes to the company and everything. But to where he's at now, he has a lot of free range at AEW. And as much as he probably could be a huge star, I feel like it would be somewhat toned down in WWE. Like he could still be like loud but like, come on, scumbag and all this stuff. I don't think that would fit well with the WWE model, at least it's character wise, I think.
I mean, you always know WWE always has to put their spin on things whenever they get like a certain talent from.
It won't be scumbag. It'll be like
jerk,
Patreon, you peasant, or something along that.
Yeah, like
pedestrian.
You really think they're gonna let him say the devil and all that stuff?
So yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the whole thing with creative changing with WWE. Maybe that's something now where it's like, okay, that looks a little bit more attractive. That we know Vince isn't a part of creative, but he's still along with the company in some capacity. But at least if that, I don't know. But MJF, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm trying to sign him now.
For sure.
He should have got his max contract months ago. You saw my comment. You saw my comment under the Sportskeeda post on Facebook. That like if he hasn't done it already, he needs to get the pro wrestling equivalent of a max contract. Whatever that number is, that's what max.
Find out who's ever making the most money. And just top that.
Just top that. No, seriously, that's what you need to do.
The funniest thing is when he talks about how much he's getting, he's like, "I'm getting paid stupid money, like a stupid amount of money."
I get to wrestle every time when I want, but it's like he has that again. That's the thing, especially with even TNA. Like we were like, for years we were like, Samoa Joe should be in WWE. Fucking Christopher Daniels should be in WWE. AJ Styles. And it's like those guys had so much flexibility down there. It's like, I'm not leaving that. Yeah. So from that standpoint, like he is leading a promotion. Would he be leading a promotion in WWE? Or would he just be in the fluff with the other guys? Well, AEW, he's the top guy there. So it's
he has,
he has the charisma. Like we know that he would be top guy in WWE, but it's just like, would he be able to get over that size factor? All these little other quips and quibs that happen.
I think if he hit the ground running, he could easily be another LA Knight and probably bigger. Mm-hmm. Especially because everybody knows he's the top guy in the other company. LA Knight wasn't. I mean, I don't know how big of a star he was in Impact and MLW.
He was pretty good. He was pretty big down there.
But was he their top guys? Was he like their champ?
They still had like Moose and Kurt Angle. Like they still had other guys. Yeah, that they would go through.
So.
But no, MJF doing compelling stuff. But let's switch gears here a little bit to